What's going on, everybody on YouTube's SVT Vasquez, back at it with another video, back at it with another banger, man. In today's video, we're going to be restoring my rotors and show you how you can prevent rust on your rotors. Let's start this show. Welcome back to my channel, guys. If you're having a rust issue on your rotors, I'll show you guys right now what it looks like. Whenever I take pictures, whenever I take video of the car, it doesn't look all that great in the wheel well. So I've already cleaned my chrome rims, washed them, and then shined my tires before. And whenever I'm taking pictures, I'll show you guys an image right now, an example of what I'm talking about. You could see there's a rust rim around the wheel, around the rotor. So what I'm gonna be doing today is I'm gonna be correcting that and making sure I prevent it from happening in the future. So the tools I'm gonna be using are, so to begin with, we're gonna start off with a primer. You're gonna wanna make sure you prime you wanna make sure you prime the surface of whatever you're painting so that the paint's able to stick a lot better to that surface. For the rotors, I'm going to be using this silver right here, and it's a high temperature. You make sure that you check the temperature. It's listed right there. Make sure that it's a high temperature paint. So that's going to be going on the rotors. I'm going to be painting the calipers, but that's going to be on a later video. So for now, this is also a clear coat. And make sure that you get the temperature resistant clear coat, but that's also going to be on the calipers as well. So for right now, all I need is primer and paint for my rotors. You're going to need a couple good jack stands to lift the car up, unless you're doing one at a time, the front and then the rear. But I'm going to be restoring my exhaust as well, so I'm going to raise the whole car up, take all wheels off, and then as soon as I get done with this job, I could move on to my exhaust. You're gonna need a few sockets to remove your wheels. If you have an impact wrench, you could remove your wheels that way or manually. I also have a drill bit over there to remove rust with a steel brush. So I'm gonna go ahead, jack up the car, guys, and then we'll get started on this job. Alright, guys, so probably the toughest part of doing this job is lifting the whole car up. That actually always pretty much gets me tired. It's a lot easier now that I've done it a couple times. If you guys seen my transmission video, I installed a RXT McLeod clutch in this. And I pretty much have it on jack stands now, but always safety first. You gotta make sure that your jacks are straight, but not only that, you have a plan B in place. Either put another jack, put a wheel under the car, or put some wood slabs to prevent the car from falling on you. Alright, guys, now that we have everything prepped, the wheels are off, the car's on jack stands. Now let's get started with prepping the rotor. So you could do these one of two ways. You could take off the whole rotor, including the calipers. I don't know if I'm going to do that yet. I'm going to test it out, try to do it with the caliper on and everything, because taking the rotor off is a whole different ballpark. I'm gonna see how it goes with it off. So right now we're gonna have our drill with our drill bit, the steel brush, and we're just gonna brush away the rust around the rotor that we don't want. And another thing, guys, make sure you hit that like button. Alright, guys, so the allergies are kicking my ass, but we're going to go ahead and keep going here. So I decided I am going to take off the rotor and the caliper. So let's get going. Let's do this real quick. It's not that hard with this car. I'll show you guys here what you need to take off. These two bolts back here. This one is a 15 millimeter bolt, and I believe that one down there is a 15 millimeter bolt as well. So just go ahead and crack those open. If you need a torque wrench and a extension bar, those might be a little tight. So I'm gonna get those done, and then I'll get back to you guys. Alright guys, so I took those 2 bolts off. As you can see, I have the brake caliper. It just slides right off after you take those bolts off. Make sure you have something to either hang it from or something to lay it on. I have a bucket so that this line doesn't have any tension on it. You don't want to have any tension on that. And yeah, that's it for that. Now, as for this, you might have a clip on one of these studs, but mine doesn't have any. So this has been on there for a while. Nothing's holding it anymore. You're just going to want to give it a little whack with a mallet from the back, and it should come right off. So I'm going to grab my rubber mallet and give it a whack and take it off. There we go. And the rotor's off, guys. So now it's just back to business, guys. Let's put on our safety gear, our mask and goggles. Now we could clean the rotor a lot better. Alright guys, now that you've cleaned your rotor with a brush, you're going to want to have some alcohol or some brake cleaner. Go ahead and wipe it down. Give it one more pass, and then it's going to be ready for paint. And let's get it done. Alright guys, so you're going to want to place your rotor inside of a box and away from your cars. You don't want any of the overspray to landing on your vehicles, and you want to minimize where the spray is landing on. So place it in a box if you can, or go somewhere far away from your vehicles. But I'm going to go ahead and go ahead and spray a light coat, and then go back and spray a second more wet coat. Alright, so this is how it looks right now. I sped up the process by using a heat gun and drying it up, but there's a few drips, and once you put the layer of paint on, it's gonna show a lot more. So if you want to just leave it like that, you can. It's not gonna make a big difference, but if you don't want those drips to be able to show when you put the rotor back on, you want to sand it at this point. And once you sand it, you could go ahead and layer your paint, and then it'll be all done. So let me go ahead and sand this, and then we'll be ready for paint. Alright guys, so this is what it's looking like now. I put the primer and the paint on this one already, and the reason I wanted the paint is because it makes it look shiny. It makes it look silver, not matte gray, like how you see on the edge right here. That's the primer. It would have looked more fake, not really metallic. This gives it a more metallic look right here. So don't worry about how the edge looks. As you could see, it's not a straight line, but once you start hitting the brakes, it's gonna make a perfect circle around. So don't worry about that little edge. You actually want to leave that, because if you don't go all the way past the edge a little bit, you're gonna have a black line or a rust line instead. And so you want to go a little bit past that line, so that you make sure that you cover all the rust. So now after I hit the brakes, it's gonna make this line, and it's gonna be all silver in the middle. So that's what it looks like now. As you can see, I cleaned it, I painted it, it's ready to go back on. Now I'm gonna go ahead and do the rest, but before I finish doing the rotors, I am also gonna paint the brake calipers. So I'm doing the brake calipers at the same time as I'm doing the rotors, but for time purposes, I'm gonna split them up into 2 videos. So this video is gonna be the brake rotor video, and then the paint calipers, I'm gonna do those later on. But that's it for the rotors for now. All I gotta do is paint the other ones, put them back on, and then I'll start painting the calipers.
just all about this money. I don't think about no thought. Girl, you don't know about me, so get off my fucking D. Born and raised in the dot. This is real as you gon' see. Girl, you don't know about me, so get off my fucking D.